On this episode of Kemp Outside, we repair a fiberglass tent pole that we broke while camping. Check it out. Hey guys, I'm Kevin and welcome to Kemp Outside. We're your inside source for all things outside. So if you watched our video on how to splint a tent pole while still camping, we shot that video while we were camping out at Fort DeSoto. I'm going to put that video right here so you can check that out. You can watch how we splinted that tent pole with a tent stake so that we could keep right on camping. Well, we're back at the house now and we're gearing up for our next camping adventure, and so I ordered a new tent pole from Eureka. So the tent that we broke the tent pole on was a Eureka Tetragon 3. We love that tent. It's a great tent. Highly recommend it. But you know, those fiberglass tent poles are pretty thin, which is great because they're light. But they don't hold up as well as maybe some of the larger fiberglass tent poles. So we did break one, which is no big deal. We had to order a replacement from Eureka, so it came in the box. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, take a look at what Eureka sent me, and then we'll get rolling on repairing the tent pole. Okay, so I've got the box all opened up and I'm reaching in to see what they sent. So apparently what they send comes in a whole kit. So it says Eureka 8.5 millimeter pole kit. Fiberglass replacement poles for your tent. Scan the QR code on the back of this card to see if this pole size fits your tent. So there's the QR code if you guys wanted to scan it if you have a Eureka tent. This definitely fits. I checked it online before I bought it. And I ordered it straight from Eureka. So it shipped pretty fast. Unlike Amazon, it wasn't next day. So, you know, plan for that. But it looks like it comes with a couple of poles, some shock cord, and some caps. So we're going to open it up and take a look. Okay, so I've got everything unwrapped here. So it does come with 4 of these 8.5 millimeter fiberglass tent poles. And it does have a ferrule only on one end. So it comes with 4 of them. Here's 2 more. It comes with some wire, and then it comes with 2 vinyl caps, which we also won't use for this tent. And then it comes with shock cord in case your shock cord has worn out. I'm not going to use this. The shock cord in our tent pole is still good, but I have another use for this in a future video, so stay tuned for that. I don't want to give it away. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the tent pole ready to receive the new pole. What we've got to do is we've got to unwrap it first. If you remember, I wrapped the pole and the stake that we used as a splint in duct tape. That's been on there a while, so we're going to have to get all that off and stuff. So let me get the camera set up and we're going to get rolling on prepping that pole for repair. Okay guys, so here's the mess that we're dealing with. This was the broken piece of the pole and a tent stake wrapped in duct tape. So we're going to go ahead and unwrap it. And I also brought some scissors just in case. It's probably going to be hard to talk and pull at the same time. So I'm just going to do this real quick. And sometimes when you use multiple pieces of tape, you've got to find the start of the next one. Okay, so now we can see the broken piece. So what I like to do is when you got all this stick them on the stake because you used it as a tent. I like to just soak it in water and then scrub it with a little brush, and that typically gets all the stuff off it after a while. Or you can use a Goo Gone or that kind of thing. There's not all that much on it. It shouldn't take me all that long, but I'm going to just set that aside and worry about it later. Okay, so the next thing we're going to have to do is get this ready to pull the shock cord out. So for this next part, what I like to do is keep my tent poles in order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to number the ferrules. And that way I know exactly the order this tent goes in. So it's going to be upside down for you, but that's 1. And then, like I said, numbering them will help me keep them in order. So 2. This is 3. That one is 4. That one is 5. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but that's okay. Just take my word for it. And that one's number 6. Okay, and that's the broken one. So we're not removing any past this one, so I don't need to number any more than that. So the next step is going to be to get the shock cord out of the end. Okay, so for removing the shock cord, I use hemostats, okay? You can use little needle nose pliers, but I find that the hemostats work really well. And you just stick it in the end and grab the shock cord. It should come out just like that. Okay, and then what you want to do is work to untie it. So I apologize if my hands are in the way. Now what you can do is, what I like about hemostats is it's really hard to hold it out and untie it at the same time. So if you take hemostats and clamp it right about there, then it's not going to go in, and you can go ahead and work on untying it. So you might be asking, where do you get hemostats? That's an excellent question. I actually got mine out of the old, when I was a kid in school, we had to dissect frogs, and we had to buy our dissection kit, and it came with scalpels and hemostats and pins and all kinds of things. I don't know if kids do that anymore, but anyway, that's where mine came from. But I was at Harbor Freight today looking for something else, and I did notice that they sell hemostats. So you can buy hemostats at Harbor Freight Tools, or I don't know if hardware stores sell them. You can probably order them on Amazon, that kind of thing. But there we go. So I have it untied. Now, I don't want to just let this go and let it go shooting through the tube. So what I'm going to do is, before I release that hemostat, I'm going to come here, I'm going to open it, and I'm going to hold it right here. Okay? So I hold it right here, then I'm going to slide this down. I'm going to release the hemostats. Right? And then I can set this pole aside, right? Okay? Then I'm going to come in, do the same thing for the next pole. I'm going to grab it right here. Let go right here. Slide that one and set it aside. Okay, now there should be enough looseness in the shock cord that it's not going to go flying. But I'm going to do it one more time just in case. So pinch here, let go with over here, slide it out. There we go. Okay, so I set those off to the side. I can see my ferrules are numbered 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull number 4 out. Okay. And we are now at the broken pole. So we pull that one out. There we go. And I've got to get the piece that was still in there broken out. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that out. Okay, so that's done. Now it's time to go ahead and insert the new replacement pole. And that's as simple as threading your shock cord back in through the new poles. So one thing to notice is that this is one of the original poles right here, and this is one from the repair kit, is that one is significantly longer than the other one. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cut down the new pole so that it matches the length of the one it's replacing. And so what I'm going to simply do is I'm just going to mark it with my marker, and I'm going to take it out to my barn and I'm going to cut it with a hacksaw. Now what I do is I score it on all sides before I cut through. That way you don't have any fiberglass splinting as you finish the cut. So, and you can measure and all that stuff, but what I like to do is just take, you know, something solid like that and just put the ends against it. And then once I have it secure, let me come down here. Okay, and I'm satisfied that it's even. I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to mark. It doesn't have to be super perfect, but you want it to be pretty close. All right, so I'm going to take it out and cut it, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I have it in the vise. I've got my hacksaw here, and I'm ready to cut. You probably can't see the mark because of the lighting, but I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start it. Okay, now that I've got it started, I'm going to turn it in the vise so that I score it all the way around. And I nicked it a little bit, but that's okay. Go ahead and take your time doing this. There's no need to be in a rush. Okay, it is scored all the way around. So I'm just going to cut where I'm... Okay, there we go. Okay, so now you can see this is one of the originals. This is the replacement. If I hold them together on this end and I slide them down, you can see they are the same length. So we're ready to go ahead and reinstall them. Okay, so starting with the repair pole, I'm going to take the wire that came with the kit, and as you can see there is a a hook end. Let me see if I can get it in the, it doesn't want to cooperate here. A hook end and a non-hook end. So you take the hook end and you put it in the inside the pole and you push it through till it comes out the other end. There we go. And then what you're going to do is attach it to the shock cord. Now, what I like to try and do is just put it in there and see if I can get it to go through without it. Sometimes you have to tape it, and that's okay. But if you don't have to, that's nice. So then you help it through and you just pull. There you go. So then you grab your previous tent poles that are numbered. Start with the highest number you had and work backwards. Feed it into the end. And I like to give it a little help getting it in there. And then pull. There it is. And repeat. So I'm gonna slide that in there. So sometimes what you have to do is you have to go ahead and extend the poles a little bit so that you get as much of the shock cord as you can. So here, as you can see, I'm going ahead and I'm extending the poles, and I'm actually going to move down the table a little bit to give myself a little more space. So hold on a second. Okay, so I've slid down the dining room table and I have 2 more poles to go. So here's number 2. Okay, and 1 more pole to go. So the last pole is always the hardest because there's the most tension in the shock cord. So what I like to do is once I get it all the way pulled in like that, I go ahead and set it in the ferrule of the other one. Let's see if I can slide everything down. Okay, I can. And then I pull it out. And once I get it, I immediately go back to my hemostats. And I clamp it. Okay. And then I can tie it off very easily. Typically what I just do is I do a double overhand knot. So there's 1. Oops. 2. Just like that, and that should be big enough. But I'm going to put my hemostats on the end just to make sure it doesn't go all the way in. Yep. Okay. And I just tuck that extra inside the pole. Okay, so as you can see, we now have a nice repaired, folded up tent pole. So just some real quick, some things for taking care of your tent poles. So when you're storing your tent poles, the manufacturers of tents recommend that you store your tents fully, or your tent poles fully assembled. I find that to be really impractical. A lot of people don't have the space to store their tent poles, fully assembled. The next best thing is to store your tent poles where the shock cord is as relaxed as possible. And so how you do that is, instead of, when you're taking your tent poles apart, and starting at one end and then separating them and going, what you want to do is, when the pole is fully assembled, you want to start at the middle, and then you want to work your way out, to the left, then undo one to the right, then go back and undo one to the left, and that kind of thing. And that way it releases the amount of tension on the shock cord equally across the shock cord. If you start at one end, by the time you get to the far end, there's a whole lot more stress on the shock cord on that end than there was on the end that you began with. And then the other thing that you want to make sure that you do is, when you're connected, you don't want to pull it out really far to bend it over. You want to only pull it, let me get it back in focus here. You only want to pull it as far as you have to. So be very deliberate when you're taking these tent poles apart, just a little bit, and then turn it over, okay? That will leave the minimum amount of tension on your shock cord, and that way your shock cord will last so much longer than if you just really yank on it. If one does get caught and you yank on it, what you want to do is assemble the whole tent pole all the way out again, and then start over again. That way you can make sure that the tension is evenly distributed across all the poles. If you're camping anywhere that's dusty or especially salty, like if you're doing some coastal camping, you make sure that you want to wipe down the tent poles with a wet rag and let them dry before you put them in storage. You definitely want to keep them clean, and they'll give you years and years of life. And if you happen to break one, it's no big deal. You just get the repair kit, fix just the pole you need, and then save the other poles for your next repair. So guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit that subscribe button and connect with us on our other social media channels. So we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. We post all kinds of videos, from gear reviews to tips and tricks to campground and campsite reviews. We do a lot of fishing videos as well. We camp, hike, fish all over the United States, and we try to bring those things to you. Our mission at Kemp Outside is to help moms and dads take their kids camping, hiking, fishing, and learning about nature. We want to help the beginner that has never done it before get out there and have a great time with their kids, and have their kids grow up with a lifelong love of the outdoors. So if you know anybody who could benefit from our videos, please share our channel with them. And thank you so much for the support. Guys, if you have any tent repair tips, drop those in the comments for fellow outsiders. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have any tent horror stories, drop those in there as well. I love reading tent horror stories. Those are always fun. But guys, thanks again for watching. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks for your support, and we will see you next time on Kemp Outside.